I'm Caitlin Hardy, and I am here in Washington, D.C. at AMRPA's Spring Conference and Congressional Fly-In. I am joined today by Mark Bogosian with the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. Thank you for being here with us, Mark.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. We're really thrilled to be here.
Wonderful. So we just have a few questions for you.
Great.
So first of all, for those of you who may not be familiar, can you tell us about the mission of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation and what today's care, tomorrow's cure means in practice?
Yeah, absolutely. So the foundation's mission, today's care, tomorrow's cure, is really focused on in two parts. One being the work of the National Paralysis Resource Center, which is funded through the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Administration for Community Living. And I'll kind of go into a lot of detail about that in a moment. And then, tomorrow's cure is really focused on our research. And the thing that's important to know about the two is that while our care is certainly focused on every aspect of paralysis, our work on the cure side is solely focused on spinal cord injury.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. I know the foundation offers a wide range of resources and programs for people living with paralysis and their families. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those programs?
Yeah, absolutely. The National Paralysis Resource Center offers programs, services, and resources. I would have to say that the cornerstone of all that we do is our information services. And we have a dedicated group of information specialists, and those are the folks that receive that first call when someone is newly injured or someone is newly diagnosed, but they're also the people that get the call 20 years later from people who have been with us all along the continuum of their own trajectory. When they have an issue, they're not able to get insurance to cover their wheelchair. So our information specialists are there not only for the individual living with paralysis, but they're also there for their family members and their caregivers and the community. People call and they have these bonds. And I think that's, to me, the most exciting part of there's so much that's exciting about what we do, but just the fact that people call, they're in the midst of, some major upheaval, again, whether it's a diagnosis or a spinal cord injury. And, to have somebody that's there for you, that you can talk to, that can kind of guide you along the way. What's going to happen? Where do I need to go? How do I get into a hospital or a rehab program? What do I do when I'm discharged? And they really help lead you all through the pathway and the journey. And that's just one small aspect. So, we have a peer and family mentor program. And what that does is, we take mentors and we connect them with people who are looking to be mentored. So we will pair people who are of similar, background. So we would be pairing let's say a 40-year-old man living with quadriplegia with another 40-year-old or 50-year-old male living with quadriplegia. So it wouldn't be, a 21-year-old girl who has, a lot of upper body mobility being paired with a 40-year-old man with limited mobility. And the same with caregivers, right? So if you're a spouse, we're going to connect you with another spouse. We're going to make sure that you have those connections. Right now we have about 539 peer mentors.
Wow.
We have people who have created such bonds with each other. They've been in each other's weddings. They've traveled 10 hours to meet each other. It's a really important aspect of what we do, connecting people. We have a military and veterans program, which really works with our service members, regardless of when they were injured, if they, whether they were injured during service or not. We could have somebody from the Vietnam era, or somebody in more recent times, and just having that bond with people again. And so I guess I keep coming back to bonds, right?
Yeah.
And so people think that, we're a resource center, but yet we're about people. We're about these connections, and we're about community. We have a quality of life grants program that has made over $50 million worth of grants to about 4,000 nonprofit organizations all across the country and all the territories as well. So it's an amazing program that provides all kinds of grants, whether it be adaptive sports, which is our number one area of funding, to facility modifications, to education programs, arts programs. So those grants are really just, again, something that's embedded in the community, helps the community to be more welcoming and just open and serving the entire group of folks, whether it be people living with paralysis or their caregivers, family members, etc. There's a college navigation program, and that helps either, kids who are thinking about going into college, and, once they leave the atmosphere of school with all of those built-in supports, they're going to be on their own.
Yeah.
And how do they navigate that? So we have a counselor that works with them kind of from the inception, thinking about going to school, let's look at the schools, let's look at the terrain, let's talk about what kind of, even basic things like weather, where's the campus, how do you navigate it, is it accessible, how do you advocate for yourself in a university setting when, you had your parents all along, and you're out there on your own now, right? It also teaches, them how to, maybe they'll need to find their own caregiver if, this is their first time away from home. So that's one of my favorite programs. We also have a pre-employment benefits analysis, because when people are injured or just thinking about going back into the workforce, it's very frightening. I mean, and you could potentially lose all your services, right? So we really help people kind of think through that process, help them, examine what they need to do to secure employment and be, become an active member of the community again in that way. So there's a lot, right? so we do a whole lot on that side. In addition, we have a million resources. Just all of our resources are free and available to the community. We will send them out to individuals, we'll send them out to universities, we'll send them, even here, so many of the hospitals have come up to me and they say, we use these to train our staff. And that's amazing. Yeah. So just to know that the work that we've done is educating new people entering this field, and that's something that we take a lot of pride in, is the fact that we have provided these resources that now people are being trained on how to work with people that are living with paralysis, how to know about some of the secondary conditions, and that's what a lot of these booklets are on. They're either they're on the secondary conditions, whether it be bowel management, bladder management, pain management, and that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that if with a spinal cord injury, there are all these other things that happen to the body as well. Yeah. Obviously, same with paralysis, pressure sores, if you're sitting in your chair too long. There's, so these resources are really guides that help the individual, their family member, and as we see here, people in the profession. So that's really exciting.
That's amazing. It does sound like the foundation provides invaluable resources and programs. So many, and I'm sure there's additional that we couldn't even touch on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So in addition to all of those resources, I know the foundation is also deeply involved in advancing the research. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit more about that side of the work that you all do?
Yeah, absolutely. Our research is, we've been in this field now for 20 plus years, since Christopher Reeve was injured, and obviously while he was alive, his work and his advocacy pushing forward this agenda, and we're so lucky to be in this time right now. There are so many breakthroughs happening, and we can proudly look back on all of the years that we've been kind of slogging through it all. One other thing that we do as we really focus on our research is we know that there's not just going to be one cure, and I actually want to talk about cure in a moment too, right?
Okay.
Because I want to say it's not what people think, but back to it's not going to be one drug, it's not going to be one device, it's not going to be one therapy, but is it a drug plus a device plus a therapy? And so when we talk about cure, we're talking about all of the issues related to quality of life. And as I was talking about the resources earlier, there are things with spinal cord injury that people aren't aware of, and whether that's loss of function and control, bladder function, bowel function, sexual function, inability to regulate body temperature, not being able to sweat. So there's a lot of other quality of life issues that we're really addressing through our research.
Okay.
We've been working for a while now with Onward Medical, and we have just last year, the big news came out, the first FDA approved device, the ARC-EX. And what that really is it activates the remaining nerve pathways.
Okay.
So the best way to explain this is, so I have a good friend, a colleague who is, he's about my age, so it's a little older, but he's a high-level living with high-level quadriplegia, and injured since he was 18. Okay. So we're going on 40 years now, and had very, very limited hand motion. Went into start using the ARC-EX through a clinical trial, and again, no real hand movement for almost 40 years. He can pick up a pen. Wow. He can get, his. On our Zooms, he's always like with his water bottle, just which is just showing great, and skills, absolutely. Yeah. And his favorite thing was one of the first things he did was he had a beer, and he was like drinking a beer like out of the bottle, and like that's amazing. Like that's giving people back quality of life, right?
Incredible.
So devices like that, and it's like that's probably the biggest thing that's been happening. We're also working with Kessler right now, and on a clinical trial. It's called the Butterfly IQ, and what that is it is an ultrasound that monitors bladder volume. And why that's important is because UTIs, but also it can lead to hospitalization. I know a young gentleman who I just heard of about 2 weeks ago. He ended up in the ER. They didn't know what was happening to him. His like blood pressure, everything was just off. And it was getting to the very critical point. It ended up that he hadn't catheterized. And so he wasn't aware that he had full volume there. So that can kill people. So something like this device, the Butterfly IQ, lets people monitor what's happening in their bodies. Right? Life-changing, life-saving, and really, really important. And just one more that I want to mention. I mean, there's a few more. There's brain-computer interface. And you've seen some of that on the news, right? Where people, they implant something in the brain, and like people they're having movement, they're having upper body movement, they're having lower body movement. I mean, we're in an age where it's just breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. And I think, again, what's so important is, we've been there from the beginning. We've been just in there in the fight when for decades it almost seemed as if, is this really going to happen? And now we're in a place where it is. And I think the last thing I want to say about research is, we are the co-founder of SCI Ventures, which is the first philanthropic venture fund aimed specifically at spinal cord injury.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure that has to be very rewarding to see all the work that you've done in the field of research, coming to light and all the new things that are coming out of that. So that is wonderful to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, and to wrap us up, I just have one more question.
Yeah.
So, we've talked a lot today about the programs and the resources and the research. Tell me how those things work together, and then I know you wanted to kind of tie it back to your mission again. So, just kind of bring it all together. Tell us how that all works.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's interesting. So, when we were talking earlier about even just the resources, right? So, the resources about bladder management, bowel management, teaching people how to take care of themselves, teaching potential, people in the medical field how to take care of individuals living with paralysis, with SCI. So, we're doing both, where here's what today's care is all about, and yet we're making breakthroughs in research. So I almost want to say, I probably get in trouble for this, but it's like, we're not even at tomorrow's cure. We're living pieces of the cure right now. So, those blended together is really what makes us whole. And I just, it's an amazing time to be a part of all of this. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, it does sound like the foundation is doing a lot of really great work. And I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day today to spend some time with me and to tell me more about what the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation is all about.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And I just want to encourage everybody to please, come to our website, christopherreeve.org. Check us out on our socials. We have a, TikTok, all of them. We're there on all of them. We have a great YouTube channel too. So just come and join us.